Did you know your birth chart can shed some light on narcissism? Well, I'm here to tell you. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Hannah and welcome back, Cosmic Warriors. Now, before we do dive into today's episode, if you want to learn more about astrology, then you can head on over to the Cosmic Check-In podcast. And if you would like to book a reading with me, you can go to hannahselsewhere.com. I hope you enjoy the video. Let's do this. Okay, so I want to begin this video, of course, by saying that this is not a video that should be used to diagnose people, nor am I stating it should be used to label, blame, or shame others. This is a video of exploration, discovery, to see what information we can really pull from the story of Narcissus and Echo, to then see how these asteroids might show up within your chart. So, with an open mind, have you heard the story of Narcissus and Echo? Have you maybe encountered narcissistic people in your life? Perhaps you have been involved in highly narcissistic relationships. My intention today is to help you use the asteroids Narcissus and Echo for personal development. All the sources I use in today's video will be linked in the description box. All right, so let's explore this story between Narcissus and Echo. Narcissus was a handsome young man who fell in love with his own reflection. He was the son of, I will just insert the word here, a river god, and then also a nymph. I will also put the nymph's name here. So Narcissus' mother was told by a prophet that Narcissus would reach old age if he failed to know himself. Whilst many loved Narcissus, he could not love others, for he was too in love with himself. A nymph named Echo was smitten, absolutely smitten with love for Narcissus, enchanted by his beauty. Whilst he was out hunting one day, Echo followed him. Now, as Zeus was off having many affairs with other women, Zeus was kind of known for doing this. Hera, aka Juno, who of course was Zeus's wife, well, she was kept distracted by Echo. As soon as Juno realized what Echo was doing, she punished her by never letting her speak. She essentially took away Echo's voice. The only way Echo could communicate was by repeating the last few words of others she heard. Her gossiping basically got her into a whole lot of trouble. As Echo was spying on Narcissus, Narcissus could sense he was being followed. And so he shouted out, "Who's there?" Naturally, Echo repeated his words, right? Echo revealed herself and tried to embrace Narcissus, but he refused her. Echo was heartbroken. In her despair, she wasted away. Narcissus scorned her. As for Narcissus, well, he also annoyed a young man named Armenia, who also fell in love with Narcissus. For his acts, Narcissus was cursed by Nemesis, the goddess of revenge. Nemesis proclaimed that Narcissus would never be able to be loved by the one he fell in love with. Interesting. As Narcissus grew thirsty, he found a pool to drink from, falling in love with his reflection with himself, he didn't realize that it was his own reflection. In that moment, the prophecy was written and the curse came true. He tried to grab his own image. Of course, he couldn't. This, however, only made him more infatuated with himself. Narcissus, realizing his love could not be returned, he melted away from the fire of passion burning inside himself. As time went on, he turned into a gold and white flower, known as the daffodil or the Narcissus flower. And apparently, daffodils symbolize hope, renewal, and new beginnings. They are often the first flowers to bloom after winter. According to some sources, Echo returned to Narcissus as he wasted away, and she mourned him. She mourned him a great deal. She grieved Narcissus and longed for his love. She wanted so badly for Narcissus to love her. And some versions of the myth are, as well, I just want to mention, some versions are rather bloody and a lot more tragic. Now we have explored the myth of Narcissus and Echo. How does the symbolism show up in your birth chart? Well, it is important to note that the code you type in to locate asteroid Narcissus is 37117, and the code you type in to locate asteroid Echo is 60. Go to the extended chart selection on astro.com, and then in the manual entry, type in both codes and you'll be able to locate both asteroids. Try to work with both Narcissus and Echo at the same time and see how they show up within synastry readings especially. So thinking about the compatibility between you and someone else. I want to be very clear here. Narcissus is not the negative or the bad, and Echo is not the positive or the good. They work together. They each represent something about the other. Yin, yang. Let's then begin by exploring Echo. Much like Echo could not speak, Echo in your birth chart can show how and where in life you may feel like you do not have a voice. Where you feel unheard, undervalued, unseen. There is a challenge when it comes to expressing our wants, our needs, and our desires. And we may also only repeat other people's words. We act in passive ways, becoming engulfed by those who are more interested in themselves. Imagine it. You're spending time with a friend who only ever seems to talk about themselves, and you find yourself only focusing on them. You might feel like your words do not matter, or as if you must validate the other person rather than have opinions and views of your own. In this way, it could be suggested that you are quite codependent. Perhaps also you're more into the other person than they are with you. There's a kind of love or acceptance you're really seeking from them, but in this unhealthy way. It's as if you feel invisible, unnoticed, overlooked, overshadowed, even though you deeply care about the other person, you love them. All you want is for them to notice you, to see you. But again, this is coming from this rather desperate place. Therefore, when working with Echo, consider the aspects Echo makes with other planets, aspects to the angles as well. If you do have a strong Echo placement, you might relate to these feelings of being unheard and unseen, or maybe getting caught up in highly codependent relationships, perhaps. I know in my chart, Echo in Scorpio, it's actually conjunct Pluto, very close. and squares Mercury and the Sun in Aquarius, so big themes of communication. Sextiles to both Mars and Venus in Capricorn and Neptune. So it's safe to say that I have quite a strong Echo placement. As for the orb I am using, by the way, it is about 4 degrees. I would not go higher than 5 here. Even that is a stretch. Finding out though about my Echo placement has been really validating. Really validating. Painful, but validating. A strong Echo placement might also indicate an upbringing where you were silenced and overlooked, shut out. You might have felt like you didn't have a voice within your family. And so you might reenact these dynamics within your own relationships, where you either subconsciously choose partners who talk over you or who do not love you the way you love them. Or there is something unattainable about receiving their love. And in some way, it's like you're trying to be validated by such partners and friends because deep down, you're crying out for the love of the parent who didn't notice you as a child. I am thankful to be working through such areas with my therapist, who I greatly respect. He has been helping me see that Echo possesses the traits of Narcissus in that she longs for a narcissist to love her. And even though he doesn't, she persists. She could go off and find someone else who is interested in her. But she doesn't. She stays in her determination to win his love. Therefore, could it be suggested that a strong Echo placement individual can learn to walk away, realizing that there is no one there to return their love? It is important to focus on those who are open and willing to receive love and to return it, of course. Indeed, perhaps Echo in the chart points to one-sided relationships. Then again, what if Echo is also about gossip? So gossiping gone wrong. After all, Echo was cursed by Juno for her gossiping and for misleading, right? For her misleading behavior. Therefore, perhaps we ought to be mindful about the information we hear or spread. As for narcissists, well, having a strong narcissist placement could indicate higher narcissistic traits, perhaps. Though I am not under the opinion that this automatically makes you a narcissist, perhaps a strong narcissist placement suggests a more grandiose way of showing up, or you are more self-absorbed. Naturally, having a strong narcissist placement could also be explored by professional therapists and psychologists. Maybe there is an area there to look deeply into. Still, narcissists in the chart can indicate great amounts of vanity and challenges loving others, showing empathy towards others. For we are far too invested in ourselves, making things about oneself. Excessive self-admiration. In my chart, Narcissus creates a few aspects to other planets, such as squares to the ascendant and Jupiter in Virgo, a square to the descendant in Pisces, by the same degree, by the way, a trine to the moon in Aries, and sextiles to my Aquarius placements. So could it be suggested that I ought to be mindful? Seeing that my opinions are not the only opinions that matter, my feelings are not the only feelings that matter, but also to be cautious about getting into relationships with narcissistic people. And I say this especially because Narcissus does create that square to the descendant. So think about the descendant representing our relationships in astrology, and by the same degree as well. So it makes it quite strong. Then also, the very ruler of my 7th, Jupiter, there is that square between Narcissus and Jupiter. And so therefore it's important for me to be mindful of getting into narcissistic relationships perhaps, but equally, hey, you know what? How might I show up in narcissistic ways? Yes, I also think Narcissus can be used to see in what ways we can be excessive when it comes to ourselves and how we can manage this part of ourselves. Naturally, people who are highly narcissistic, or if they have been clinically diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, they most likely will not care about changing or about this video. They may not really care about working through their challenges and their weaknesses, but hey, this video is not for them. Though, if you know of people with narcissistic personality disorder, maybe this video can assist you with having the courage to remove such people from your life, or to at least minimize the time you spend with them, if that is at all possible. And also, maybe we can draw from a little healthy narcissism from time to time, such as validating ourselves or showcasing healthy levels of self-esteem. And similar to what I said about Echo, if you have a strong narcissist placement, well, it could be suggested that you grew up in a rather narcissistic home. Perhaps one of your caregivers was high on the narcissistic scale, or your siblings were or are, and so you might attract narcissistic people into your life because, well, that is what was modeled to you growing up, right? Or it's that you yourself grew to become highly narcissistic, again, because that is what was modeled to you. And again, this is where astrology can be useful, because by knowing this, you can take action to not be in those kinds of relationships or to be that type of person even. You can make a choice. For more information though about narcissism, there's a whole community on YouTube that talks about narcissism in detail. There are ways to understand the narcissistic dynamics that take place within relationships. Again, I don't think truly narcissistic people would be watching this video and seeing how they might change for the better. Of course, we also want to think about combining both Echo and Narcissus, see what aspects they make to each other, see how they both connect with other people's planets. So looking at synastry, looking at relationships, can you identify common patterns and themes? I am going to use a couple of examples today. These examples are for entertainment purposes only and are based on the opinions displayed online. The following examples are not based on my personal views, and it is up to you to think for yourself. Just keep that in mind. Though, if you are enjoying this video so far, then please make sure to give it a like and subscribe for more. And if you would like to learn more about astrology, you can pick up a copy of my astrology cheat sheets. There are new cheat sheets available all about how to plan your week using the planetary days. Thank you so much. All right, first up then, let's explore the synastry between Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Meghan is often labelled a narcissist. Narcissus is in Pisces in her chart, opposing the sun in Virgo in Harry's chart. And then Echo is in Libra in Harry's chart, conjunct his Venus. And then Meghan's Pluto placement really conjuncts that Echo Venus conjunction within Harry's chart. Meghan's Venus in Virgo is also very close to Narcissus in Virgo in Harry's chart. So let's think about this a little bit. Venus, of course, is the planet of love and relationships. So we're seeing these connections between Narcissus and Echo really activating Venus. And then also what we see here is the Pluto. So Pluto activations being added. So there could be themes perhaps to do with dominance, control, power struggles. Then let's also use Kim Kardashian, Kanye West. Of course, they were married for a period of time. They are both often labeled as very narcissistic. Narcissus in Kim's chart opposes Saturn and Leo in Kanye's chart. And then Narcissus is also in the 7th in Kanye's, creating a square to Saturn and Libra in Kim's chart. As for Echo, both share Echo and Pluto in Libra. Again, we're seeing here Pluto activations when we combine Narcissus and Echo, and with Pluto activations, this could be an indicator of dominance, control. And then with Saturn activations, there could be some levels, some themes of confinement and struggle and tension. One more. So Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. They were married. Well, they got divorced. They got remarried. I'm pretty sure they're divorced again. Another couple, though, that are labeled narcissistic. Perhaps many people in Hollywood are quite high on the scale when we think about narcissism. Still, Jennifer's moon in Scorpio creates a conjunction with Narcissus in Scorpio in Ben's chart. And then Jennifer's Narcissus in Libra creates a conjunction with moon in Scorpio in Ben's chart. So there's this moon Narcissus connection. There is this conversation going on basically. And remember that the moon is about our emotional needs. It can also be a sign of perhaps clinginess, smothering dynamics. Both then share the moon in Scorpio. So there's a ton of emotional turmoil perhaps over attention and being seen, especially because both are Leos as well. Very interesting to see how things could very well join together in this regard. Furthermore, when working with Narcissus and Echo, what came through for me was mirroring. After all, Echo could only echo, right, the last few words of others. And so as Narcissus would call out to Echo, she could only repeat his words. Therefore, there seems to be this message of mirroring what is reflected back at us from others. Consider also how Narcissus peered down at his own reflection, his own image. Is this to suggest that the Echo part of our charts validates the Narcissus part of our charts? And so we can get caught up in a cycle. Maybe this is where the whole narcissistic cycle can happen. And if this is the case, maybe by learning about these asteroids, we can break the cycle. We can take back our power. If we encounter high levels of narcissism in others, instead of staying to make them love us and see us, we can choose ourselves, right? We can invite a healthy dose of narcissism so we don't fall into this back and forth pattern that doesn't serve us very well. Though, before we do close off today's video, this video, again, it is not to be used to label someone a narcissist. This is about exploring the myth and then seeing how things align within your own chart. See how this information applies to your life. We always want to think about context and also how you can combine naturally your chart with another person. So thinking about your compatibility, your synastry. And if this video has shed light on any unhealthy relationship dynamics in your life, I hope you can be constructive while showing the bravery to change or to move on. So, my question for you is, where is Narcissus and Echo in your chart? Do you have experiences to share? Let me know what you find below. Okay, everyone, so that concludes today's video all about Narcissus and Echo. I hope you have found this video to be helpful and that you learned something new. If you did, you can always buy me a coffee. But all in all, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more. Give the video a like if you did like it, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!